Hey, what's up guys? It's Hassan Minhaj. You know, back in October, we did an episode about Saudi Arabia, and we found out some US military training manuals aren't exactly up to date.
If you are sent on a training mission in Saudi Arabia, this is the official military document you get. It describes the Saudi people as indigenous tribes with some later mixture of Negro blood from slaves imported from Africa.
Thankfully, the US government changed this on their official documents, but when you Google the term Negro blood, one of the first things that pops up is an article about me, which is not a good look. So it got me thinking, are there any other documents with racially offensive words in them? And it turns out it's not just documents. There are actually places all over America with racially offensive names.
One mountain is drawing the attention of some state lawmakers. Negro Mountain. Negro Creek Road.
Negro Bar State Park.
Negro Head Rocks.
Runaway Negro Creek.
Cruise east along the Colorado River, you'll see a canyon on the right. It goes by the name Negro Bill Canyon.
Thankfully, with the help of local news coverage, some of these names were changed. Keyword, some. As of 2015, there were at least 1,441 places with racial slurs in their name. Now, depending on who you are, that might be too much or too little. Even today, there are a shitload of places here in America that pretty much offend every minority group. Now, I'm gonna say some really offensive shit. Please do not take this audio out of context. I'm looking at you, Slade. Again, this is Hassan Minhaj, and I'm saying these words are very bad. There's Wetback Tank Reserve in New Mexico, Midget Geyser in Wyoming. There's Chinaman Lagoon in Alaska, Dago Creek in Alaska, not to be confused with Dago Frank Creek, also in Alaska. Alaska's state seal is basically just the egg avatar. Now, I don't live by Midget Geyser in Wyoming, but there is a fucked up place in my own backyard. In New York City, there is a place called Negro Point. It's actually on Randall's Island, which is kind of weird when you think about it. When you think about racist islands in New York, you generally think Rikers. It's no longer Negro Point on Google Maps, but it's still Negro Point on federal maps. Here's the thing, it doesn't have to be this way. The names of these places can actually be changed.
Lake Horny, with an E, by the way, is a man-made lake full of wildlife and for years the butt of jokes. One Lake Horny resident who was too shy to go on camera has had enough of those red-faced moments. He recently sent an application to the United States Board of Geographic Names to try to get this lake officially changed.
Imagine getting a text from your dad that just says, "Hey, meet me at Lake Horny." You'd be like, was that text from Mom? The name-changing process is handled by the US Board on Geographic Names. Now, I had a lot of questions, so I gave them a call. In 2011, there was a hearing to rename Negro Point, but there were several groups opposed to it, including the Sandy Hook Pilots Association, NOAA, and the Coast Guard. These groups claimed that changing the maps would potentially confuse tugboat captains. When have we let tugboat captains stand in the way of racial progress? Can you imagine if during Selma someone came up to MLK and was like, "Look, Martin, if you do this, you're gonna piss off a lot of tugboat captains." And he'd be like, "Oh no, we gotta shut this down." This is crazy to me. I live by Negro Point. I've been there. You guys, it's beautiful. It doesn't deserve this disgusting name. So I went to the US Board on Geographic Names' website and submitted a form to rename Negro Point once and for all. Anyone can do this. Look, if there's a racist mountain, or a racist pond, or a racist archipelago in your backyard, you can click on the link below and submit a request to change the name. Okay, here are the rules. If you are going to change the name of a place, you have to make it less racist. You can't just change Chinaman Lagoon to Oriental Swamp. Okay? It should be easier to make things less racist, depending on who you are. All right, let's just go in alphabetical order, okay? We're gonna skip Alabama because it's, yeah. So let's start with Alaska, okay? Let's change Dago Frank Creek to just Frank Creek. Frank will thank you, and so will the Italian community.